glycolysis starts with glucose molecule, and it is a 10-step enzyme catalyzed reaction where glucose is getting converted to 2 molecules of pyruvate, and it is also generating 2 molecules of ATP. That is important to us because we need energy, and it also produces 2 molecules of NADH shown here. 2 molecules of NADH is also getting produced. This NADH will be later utilized by different pathway to generate ATP also. So this 10-step enzyme catalyzed reaction where glucose is getting converted ultimately to pyruvate, it can be broken down into 2 different phases. One is known as the preparatory phase, which is the stage 1, and it constitutes the reaction 1 to reaction 5. So preparatory phase means you are investing some amount of energy so that you ultimately get a molecule, so that from that molecule you can generate more amount of energy. For example, in stage 1 of glycolysis, that constitutes reaction 1 to 5, we are actually investing 2 molecules of ATP. We are investing 2 molecules of ATP to generate glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, so that we can use this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in the stage 2, which constitutes reaction 6 to reaction 10, for the generation of 4 ATP molecules. So in stage 1, that is preparatory stage, we are investing 2 ATP molecule, and in stage 2, we are generating 4 ATP molecule, and as a result, glycolysis has a net generation of 2 ATP. So reaction 1 to reaction 5 constitutes the stage 1, where we are generating glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate are actually known as GAP is generated, and this GAP is used for the reaction 6 to reaction 10, so that we can convert 2 molecules of GAP to 2 molecules of pyruvate ultimately with the concomitant generation of 4 ATP. You can see the 4 ATP molecule with the concomitant generation of 4 ATP. Therefore, glycolysis has a net profit of 2 ATP per glucose molecule. So this is the overall reaction. That is, we are using glucose, NAD plus, 2 NAD plus, 2 ATP, 2 PI. So then we are generating 2 pyruvate, 2 NADH, 2 ATP, 2 H2 and 4 H plus. So this is not important. 2 water and 4 H plus is not important. But the important part is glucose plus 2 NAD plus 2 ATP plus 2 PI equal to 2 NADH plus 2 ATP plus 2 pyruvate. This is the important part. So this NAD acts as an oxidizing agent in glycolysis. You require this NAD plus absolutely for glycolysis, because NAD has a vital role to play. If cellular level of NADH decreases, then pyruvate should be converted to lactate molecule, so that you can immediate supply NAD plus. Normally pyruvate is not getting converted to lactate molecule, but under certain situation, when your skeletal muscle activity increases more, in that case the rate of glycolysis in those cells also increases, and you require more amount of NAD plus, but during the process of glycolysis you are converting NAD plus to NADH. That means, though in those cells, in those skeletal muscle cells, you actually don't have any NAD plus molecule present. So that is the reason why this pyruvate, the pyruvate, glycolytic product pyruvate, is immediately getting converted to the lactate molecule, so that we can convert NADH to NAD plus back again for the continuation of glycolysis. So this NAD plus must be recycled by this one process, which is the anaerobic process, occurs in muscle. So under anaerobic condition in muscle, NAD plus is regenerated when NADH reduces pyruvate to lactate, which is also known as the homolactic acid fermentation. And there is another process that is known as the alcoholic fermentation, by which you can also generate NAD plus. And in aerobic cell, aerobic condition, after the TCA cycle, electron transfer and oxidative phosphorylation, you can also generate NAD plus. So now we should start the first reaction of glycolysis, the individual reactions of glycolysis. Definitely, the first reaction is the conversion of glucose to the glucose 6-phosphate by the help of an enzyme called hexokinase. And for the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, you require this phosphate group. In biological system, the donor of the phosphate group is always ATP. The donor of the phosphate group is always ATP. So you are using ATP here to donate its phosphate group, so that you can convert glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. The enzyme required for this kind of reaction is hexokinase. Why kinase? Kinase is a type of enzyme that transfers a phosphate group between ATP and a metabolite. So when you are transferring a phosphate group from ATP to a compound, you require kinase. When you are transferring a phosphate group from a compound to ADP so that you can generate ATP, then you also require a kinase molecule. Why it is called hexokinase? Because hexokinase is a non-specific sugar. It can be applicable to any kind of hexose, like it can convert glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, it can convert fructose to fructose 6-phosphate, it can convert mannose to mannose 6-phosphate also. These all are hexose sugar. So hexokinase is relatively a non-specific enzyme which catalyzes the conversion of any kind of hexose to hexose 6-phosphate. So this hexokinase enzyme is absolutely present in all cells except liver. Liver contains glucokinase. So your liver cell actually contains glucokinase, which is specifically convert glucose to phosphorylation of glucose, that is glucose 1-phosphate, not the 6-phosphate directly. Hexokinase, unlike hexokinase actually converts glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, but glucokinase actually converts glucose to glucose 1-phosphate, and from glucose 1-phosphate you can convert glucose 6-phosphate by the help of a mutase enzyme. Phosphoglucomutase is the name of the enzyme. So this is the actual differences. So you can ask that this hexokinase molecule uses this glucose as a substrate, and ATP is maybe another substrate. But what is the importance of this magnesium ion? So to explain the importance of magnesium, let us first assume that why you are performing glycolysis. The answer is to generate ATP. The answer is to generate energy. So if there is a surplus of energy, surplus of ATP, that means you have more amount of energy or already a huge concentration of energy in the form of ATP, glycolysis will continue or not? The answer is no, because you already have ATP. So why you are continuing glycolysis? So you can see that ATP actually carries the first reaction, and by this process, when we are considering a situation that your body contains a significant concentration of ATP, then ATP must be the inhibitor of the glycolysis. So how is this possible? Actually, in this particular reaction, ATP is present and ATP is converting this glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. So ATP must be the activator. But in another way, when the concentration of ATP is so large in your body, then the ATP must be the inhibitor. So what is their actual role? If anybody asks that ATP is the inhibitor or activator of the glycolysis, what will be your answer? The answer is definitely ATP is the inhibitor of the glycolysis. Because if you have a surplus amount of ATP, you should not continue glycolysis because you already have ATP. Why you are going to generate glycolysis? So what is the function of Mg2 plus here? So you have to understand this thing. This is the structure of adenosine triphosphate, that is adenosine and 3-phosphate. This one is the alpha phosphate group, and this is the beta, and this one is the gamma phosphate group. So this phosphate group carries lots of negative charges. So if magnesium ion is present, this magnesium ion can bind to the beta and gamma phosphate so that it can reduce the negative shielding effect, making this structure more accessible for the nucleophilic attack of the C6OH group of glucose. You can see the oxygen group has a lone pair of electron, the 6th carbon. This is the 6th carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6th carbon. This is the 6th carbon of glucose, and the oxygen contain lone pair of electrons, so it can nucleophilically attack the gamma phosphoryl group, so that this bond will be broken and ADP will be released. You can see ADP will be released by this process, and the OH group now can carry the phosphate group to generate glucose 6-phosphate. That means ATP is the inhibitor of the glycolysis, but ATP together with the Mg2 plus ion is the activator of the glycolysis. So that means uncomplexed ATP is the inhibitor of the glycolytic pathway. So when you are adding ATP, it is the inhibitor, but when you are using ATP Mg2 plus, it should be the activator. That means you have to use Mg2 plus here, because without the Mg2 plus, the ATP will be the inhibitor of the same reaction. It is the irreversible reaction. That means you can generate glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, but not the reverse one by the hexokinase enzyme. So that means hexokinase actually uses two different substrates. One is the glucose, another is the Mg2 plus ATP complex. That is ATP Mg2 plus complex, because uncomplexed ATP is the potent competitive inhibitor of the hexokinase reaction, and if ATP is available in surplus concentration, then the ATP will be uncomplexed. The ATP cannot conjugate with the Mg2 plus ion, and that is the reason it is not it acts as a competitive inhibitor for the introductory the first reaction of the glycolysis, that is the hexokinase reaction. So one important question, that why hexokinase transfer the phosphate group from ATP to glucose to generate glucose 6-phosphate? Why this reaction is happening? Why ATP is not donating their phosphate group to the water molecule, that is also known as the ATP hydrolysis. So ATP can also donate their phosphate group to water, which is called ATP hydrolysis, but here hexokinase is actually transferring this gamma phosphate group to the glucose to generate glucose 6-phosphate. So why are questioning this kind of thing? Because water is certainly small enough compared to that of the glucose molecule, right? So in a cell, if you are comparing between glucose and water molecule, so glucose means say glucose actually means C6H12O6. So glucose is, say, this is the C, so C6H12O6. So we can rewrite this thing, we can rewrite the structure of glucose in the form of C6H2O6. So technically glucose actually contains 6 molecules of water. So it is very much easy for the ATP to donate its phosphate group directly to the water molecule, not to glucose, right? So this process actually known as the ATP hydrolysis. So why ATP hydrolysis is not happening here? Why ATP is donating their phosphate group to the glucose molecule? So that's another point, that the concentration of water is about 55.5 or 55.6, actually 55.6 molar, and the cellular concentration of glucose is only 5 to 10 millimolar. So compared to 5 to 10, actually 5 to 10 millimolar. So if you are comparing the concentration of water with the concentration of glucose, the concentration of water is absolutely high. So there is every possibility that ATP can donate their phosphate group to water. So we are considering two situations. One, the concentration of water is higher as compared to the glucose molecule, and it is huge. That is 55.6 molar is the concentration of water with compared to that of the glucose molecule, which is about 5 to 10 millimolar present in cell. And number two, water is certainly small enough to fit the phosphoryl acceptor group enzymatic binding site. That means water can easily bind to the hexokinase, but rather than glucose, because glucose is absolutely huge molecule. So if glucose can bind, then water definitely can bind. So why not ATP is hydrolyzing directly? So the answer is the structure of hexokinase. So the answer was proposed by Thomas Sage by X-ray crystallographic structure, and what he found that he actually compared the structure of glucose with hexokinase and without hexokinase molecule. So this is the structure of hexokinase. You can see this is the structure of hexokinase molecule, and this is the glucose molecule. And glucose can fit into the active site, and upon binding it induces a large conformational change. So before glucose gets bind, there may be some sort of water molecule present in the active site of the hexokinase molecule. But when the glucose molecule bind to the active site, then due to the conformational change, this structure, this opening of the hexokinase molecule becomes so narrow that the water molecule excludes out. And as a result, at that time, the sixth position of the glucose molecule, that is the C6OH group, is so much close to that of the ATP's gamma phosphate, and that is the reason why actually ATP is donating the phosphate group to the sixth position, not to the position 1, because at that structure the C6OH group is so much accessible to the nucleophilic attack to the ATP's gamma phosphate group, right? So the answer was further supported by the fact that if we modify the structure, of glucose, we are not using the C6OH, that means we exclude the sixth carbon. In that case, we are actually providing xylose. So it is similar to that of the glucose, except it is a 5 carbon sugar. It lacks the 6 carbon, that is C6OH group is not present. And if we add xylose, in that case ATP hydrolysis actually occurs. That means ATP is donating their phosphate group to the water molecule, because the C6 carbon is not available. So ATP is not able to donate its phosphate group to the C6 carbon, because C6 carbon is actually not available. And that is why at that point what xylose is doing, after addition of xylose, it can bind to the hexokinase molecule. Maybe it is binding to the hexokinase molecule, but it is not closing the jaw of the hexokinase, and as a result significant water molecule is available and ATP can donate their phosphate group to the water molecule. So this is actually the detailed mechanism of how the hexokinase molecule work, why uncomplexed ATP is the inhibitor of the hexokinase reaction, what is the importance of ATP MG2 plus in glycolysis, and why ATP is not donating its phosphate group to the water molecule, which is known as ATP hydrolysis, but it is donating to glucose to generate glucose 6-phosphate. So this is the first reaction of glycolysis by which we are converting glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. Hope you understand.